How will the investigation unfold in the coming hours, days, and weeks in Orlando? We're joined now by Dr. G.M. Cox, director of the Public Administration Master's Degree Program at Tarleton State University in Fort Worth, Texas. He has more than 4 decades of experience in law enforcement. GM, what path will this investigation take?
Well, you can imagine the amount of human and technological resources that are behind this investigation. I can only tell you that even one homicide with one victim is an extremely exasperating event requiring many, many steps, crime scene techs, dogs, all kinds of stuff. So imagine multiplying that times 50 plus that many or more wounded victims. So it's a very, very difficult job.
All right, and I know, too, there's obviously a lot of interest in this second worst terror attack since 9/11. So
Right.
Those guys have kind of a responsibility, too, to keep the public up to date, I guess, through the media, basically, as to what's happening. Is that a difficult task as well?
It is, because you're having to make sure your information is correct. The first report was there were 20 victims that had died. Another 30 or plus had been wounded. And then you come back with 50. How do you make that mistake? How do you get from 20 to 50? Didn't anybody count people? I mean, so the expectations go up, that the individuals who make these comments are accurate, that it's timely, and that it's informative. I don't know about you, but it just kills me to hear the same thing over and over again. But at the same time, people tune in at different times. So the news media, such as yourself and others, have an obligation not only to disseminate the news, but to keep people abreast of the new news about it, as well as conversation with people like me.
All right, so you're a former law enforcement guy. Explain to me, I guess, the shooter here had been questioned by the FBI in 2013 and 2014. Then last week or so goes and buys a gun. But is it overreach that the FBI should have been notified about this?
No, I find it fascinating that the FBI did not have this guy currently under some kind of surveillance. In addition to that, I believe there was some evidence that he had connections to the Boston bomber twins, which would definitely put him on the top at least 100 list of people I would want to keep an eye on, and it certainly should have been on a watch list for purchasing under the national background check system.
We're speaking with Dr. G.M. Cox. He's director of the Public Administration Master's Degree Program at Tarleton State University in Fort Worth, Texas, and we're talking about how law enforcement investigates a massive terror attack. Given the early stuff that we know now, are there lessons to be learned going forward here? This lone wolf stuff is very unsettling.
It is very unsettling. I've been preaching this lone wolf approach for some time, and already ISIS has taken credit for this attack. Well, of course they have. Even if they didn't do it, they're going to take credit because, quite frankly, their name was brought up. It's a terrorist kind of activity. 50 people died. It's got the national attention. It's got the international attention. Of course they're going to take credit for it. I wouldn't believe a thing that came out of ISIS's mouth, or in this case, their webpage or whatever they're using to communicate. What I would watch, I'm a citizen, I want to know, what am I doing to contribute to my own safety or danger? What can I do to improve my safety in the future? And how am I going to respond if I find myself in one of these situations?
Yeah.
And all three of those things can be done. I don't tell people to be paranoid. I tell them to be prepared.
Any way to stop the lone wolves?
Very difficult to do. Intelligence, doing what we continue to do. We need to sharpen the U.S. Patriot Act and reinforce the ability of the federal government to monitor these, because this is their modern means of communication. The use of the internet, the use of cell phones, etc. And when there's an algorithm out there that NSA and other agencies use. When you use a string of words together in combination, these algorithms are saying, "Whoa, we have this is something we need to pay attention to." We don't have millions of human beings monitoring every phone call, every email. What we have is a computer generated using an algorithm that's looking for anomalies in the text. And when they see that, it says, okay, you need to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
Then a human analyst goes back and checks what's going on. And it's through that process we've been able to identify and intercept and interdict terrorist activities. So we've got to continue to do that. Individuals must take responsibility for their own safety. Be aware of your surroundings. Looking, these businesses like this nightclub, they have to be a little bit better at their security. How does a guy with a gun go through a front door like that? We don't know all the facts yet, but how does that happen? Do we have the proper security in place? Do we have people watching, et cetera, et cetera?
It's GM Cox, director of the Public Administration Master's Degree Program at Tarleton State University in Fort Worth. 19 minutes now before the hour on This Morning, America's First News. Good Monday to you. Thanks for being with us. Reminder, by the way, that we can connect on social media. You can friend us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter with the username @ThisMorningShow. You can follow me directly on Twitter as well with the username @GordonDeal.